Let's talk about traditions, shall we? On a warm, early fall afternoon in Greencastle, Indiana. Old Gold Day goes back to 1907 at DePauw University. This stadium, Blackstock Stadium, Nick Morose's field, was dedicated on this date 84 years ago. DePauw won that game. They'll likely win this game as well. 0-4 Oberlin is the opponent against the DePauw Tigers. We thank you for joining us for DePauw University football here on the ISC Sports Network. Alongside Jared Thomas, my name is Greg Rakestraw. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, let's talk about the unique nature of this afternoon's opponent, rather. Oberlin College, longtime NCAC rival of the DePauw Tigers. They have historically struggled in football. The last coach to leave Oberlin with an over 500 record as the head coach of the Yeomen, well, he last coached in 1929. It gives you an idea that they've been competitive in a lot of sports. Football has not been one of them. 38 players on the roster. A handful of players are injured. So in terms of players in uniform, around 30 today for Oberlin. This game will be contested at a high school length. We are playing 4 12-minute quarters in today's game. So when you know it's going to be a lopsided matchup coming in, Jared, how does that affect the psyche of these DePauw players?
Talking to some of the people on the Oberlin side, coaches included, it's all just about getting the old culture out of the locker room and inserting the new one. And this is part of one of those stepping stones of getting everyone on the same page, continuing to do so with Coach Pont at the helm as head coach. And it's all about just making sure you're not so much worried about the wins and the losses, but the program progress from each week to the next one, and I know they're looking forward.
All right, gentlemen,
to the
like I said, my name is Jack.
Today.
Again, you hear the referee for today's game. That is Jack Brooks as the opening coin toss is taking place atop the Tiger Head. We can certainly listen in. School president is the official participant in the coin toss. That is Dr. Lori S. White.
That is a head. Oberlin, you've won the toss. You're going to take the football. DePauw, which way do you want to kick? You're going to kick away from the scoreboard. Oberlin, turn and face the scoreboard.
By the way, no issues in terms of the coin toss as compared to a couple of weeks ago here between DePauw and Kenyon. You said Coach Pont. Yes, John Pont is the head coach of Oberlin. He is the grandson of the coach that took the Indiana Hoosiers to the Rose Bowl back in 1967 with the same name. Let's talk about these DePauw Tigers. My goodness, where do you begin? They have won 4 consecutive NCAC conference championships. Brett Dietz's record here is a staggering 45-7. But of all the stats and factoids, Jared, I could drop on you, they have won 28 consecutive regular season games at the DePauw Tigers.
You talk about Coach Nick Morosis, and one of this coin phrases, keep the main thing the main thing. And I asked Coach Dietz just a couple of weeks ago, how do you keep everyone focused when you've had all the success in the past and you're looking forward to future success? It's about learning from the lessons that you do have, whether it be losses or even in wins, and you just continue to put that in your coaching portfolio, and you help the team just look head and shoulders ahead as they get ready for each opponent. So he understands at the head coach position what it takes being in the NCAC and what it means playing these individual games, because in their level right now, you don't get a chance to just go to the playoffs just because you participate. You have to take each week seriously, and that starts with Oberlin today. 2
biggest games on the schedule after today's game for DePauw. New opponent John Carroll in terms of the NCAC. They have made the move from the OAC. They have been kind of perennially the runner-up to national power Mount Union in that league. John Carroll comes here in 2 weeks. We'll have that one for you back to the usual 1 o'clock kickoff time on the ISC Sports Network. And, of course, we are 42 days away. 131st Monon Bell Classic up the road in Crawfordsville at Little Giant Stadium. We'll have that one for you, too, on the ISC Sports Network. One of the many Cathedral Irish players, which makes Jared Thomas smile. And Buddy Gomez will kick this ball away for DePauw. Pair of return men back deep for the Oberlin Yeomen. Oberlin has won a game in each of the last 2 seasons. They are 0-4, and this kick will perfectly stop at the 5-yard line. And DePauw has coverage inside of the 20-yard line. Miguel Garcia on the return for the Yeomen. Their quarterback is Drew Nye. And Drew has thrown 4 touchdowns and thrown 4 interceptions and has 671 yards passing on the season. If you are looking for a positive for the Yeomen in terms of their numbers, their passing game's been pretty solid so far this year.
And that makes total sense when you think about Drew Nye when he initially got to Oberlin, and that was him at quarterback and then transitioning to wide receiver and then coming back to quarterback when Coach Pont took over as head coach. So someone that is familiar and also comfortable with the receiver position, having been that he had spent some time there.
Split backs in the backfield here for the Yeomen. Give up 86 points in their season opening game to Oberlin. Lost to Hiram early this year, 58-24. On the handoff, and some positive yardage here for the Yeomen. Ball carrier is Jade Neaton, a junior out of Dallas, Texas. Leading ground gainer on the season, had 35 yards coming in. Ball came out. We're going to say, though, that I think the play had been blown dead.
You talk about a rush defense that's not even allowing 2 yards per carry. Oberlin's going to really have to work hard to get and fight for every little bit, as you already see, making multiple defenders miss, but only coming up with 2-yard gain and then also potentially losing possession.
Jared, I can even top that for you. You got to remember, at this level, sack yardage comes out of the rushing game. Technically, DePauw has allowed 6 yards rushing this season. 6. Ball knocked out. That is a batted ball down. Great read. The blitzing linebacker that made that play for DePauw.
Dominique Siebel, when you talk about defensive line and how their presence is going to be felt today and into the rest of this season, he is at the top of that list. Just plays with a relentless motor, and it constantly shows up on tape.
Owen Rozelle was the player that made the play, number 0 on your screen. Former Zionsville Eagles player. So it's 3rd down and 7. Get this football to the 29-yard line to the Yeoman. Tigers bring 4. Nye scrambling. Nye loses the football. Recovered, scoop, and score by DePauw. An early Christmas present for Chris Green. Green, one of the numerous Ben Davis Giants on this DePauw roster. Ball falls right to him, and DePauw takes the early 6-0 lead.
This is what happens when you're just in the right area at the right time. A guy that's usually known for taking on double teams at the point of attack does a nice job playing off of Luke Nolan, getting to the quarterback. Quarterback Nye just drops it on the ground. Chris Green picks it up for the first score defensively for the Tigers.
Again, Nolan was giving chase, and Nye simply lost the football. So the early advantage for the Tigers. Snap back, kick up, and no problem there. Matthew Berry, we'll see he and Gomez kind of rotate kicking duties throughout the course of the season. And just 46 seconds in, yes, again, 12-minute quarters today, DePauw has a 7-0 lead, and that has to be, well, a bit of a crestfallen scenario right now for Oberlin.
And for Oberlin, you look at the box score from the first half of the last 2 weeks for DePauw, going back to Kenyon, only up 14-7 going into halftime. Go to a week ago against Wittenberg, and it was knotted at 0. So you could argue that DePauw hasn't started exactly fast offensively. So how do you change the tide on that result? You have your defense go out there first and create points themselves that really just injects life into the entire Blackstock Stadium.
The early start time today for Old Gold Day on campus, one of just 4 home games this season, and we'll produce all 4 of them for you right here on the ISC Sports Network. Tigers trying to run their league record to 3-0.
Along with C.J. Cooper for Oberlin.
They are off next week, are the Tigers.
Gomez to kick off.
So Gomez on to kick the ball away. And this kick will bounce and reach the end zone. That will be an automatic touchback.
For Gomez.
So this Oberlin drive will start at the 20-yard line.
It's the best type of drive for, speaking for the offensive linemen for DePauw. The drives where you score points and you didn't exercise any type of output. It always feels good when you feel like you're contributing to the scoreboard via points, but gave no effort to do so.
Last time Oberlin beat the Tigers, got to go back to 1952. The two teams have now routinely played each other since 2013 upon DePauw's entrance into the North Coast Athletic Conference. Split back to the backfield. Fake the handoff, and all knocked away what would have been a 4-yard pickup. Defender on the play that time was Zach Reese, junior from Franklin, at second down.
The team leading tackler at 20 at the start of this contest has just done a nice job, was actually in on the play that they thought was a fumble on that first drive for Oberlin, but that's a guy that's just flying around in the early parts of this DePauw season.
You see that as a pretty sparse sideline opposite the DePauw bench today. On the handoff, and ball is bobbled, picked up by DePauw, and that will be a second fumble return touchdown of the game. Tariq Jimo Oyashigi, again, a Ben Davis Giant, gets the scoop and score. Nehemiah Dow better be ready. He might be next of that group for DePauw and make it 13-0 in. It is a woeful start for the Yeomen of Oberlin.
Well, you can see why Coach Dietz and his staff love the crew that they have from Ben Davis. Oyashigi being one of those guys, a very instinctual linebacker, as you can see there. Very heads-up football player, as you can see there. Just doing a nice job from the west side of Indianapolis.
Offense hasn't to do a thing, and it's a 14-0 lead for the DePauw Tigers. Let's sneak in a quick 30-second break as you're watching DePauw football on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
So Tariq Jimo Oyashigi, and part of some fantastic teams at Ben Davis. Brett Dietz has done a wonderful job in terms of recruiting this state primarily, but you'll see the occasional player from Oklahoma, Illinois, Georgia, etc. that matriculates to DePauw University. Coach Dietz has built his base right in his own backyard. For those watching outside of this area, Ben Davis, you can get from Ben Davis High School here in about 45 minutes if you take the right road, not too far from the west side of Indianapolis. Gomez on for the kickoff. This will be returned by Garcia from the 5-yard line. And he'll be stopped just shy of the 20. And literally right now for Oberlin, goal number one is to hang on to the football. They've had 5 offensive snaps, and they have fumbled it twice in 63 seconds.
Something that could provide an illusion as if DePauw was dominating, which they are, but for Oberlin's sake, it's not anything that DePauw has done. It's been everything they haven't been able to do. Simple handoff, rush points, and exchanges between the quarterback and the running back, lack of ball security. Those are things that get you beat.
If for some reason you're keeping stats at home, 0 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries so far in this game. Yeoman will try this again. Nia will keep and throws out in the flat and just a bit too tall for Connor Steele. Connor 7 catches on the season from Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. And as you can probably deduce, given the lack of bodies in the program at Oberlin and given the injuries they're dealing with now 5 games into the season, players will play both ways in today's game. Obviously, you've not seen a defensive snap for them yet, but that'll be the case eventually. 2nd and 10. Play clock is at 15. Nye in the flat and just behind his intended target. J.J. Raz, who is a freshman from Palo Alto, California. 16 catches, 192 yards on the season coming in.
But these are some of the plays that if you're the Yemen, you have to go out and actually make. Off coverage by DePauw. They've shown it on tape. They're doing it here today. So some of those easier throws that takes away the airspace in that coverage, just easy pitch and catch football, you have to convert on because they're going to give it to you, and you can't have those unforced errors where you're just simply not catching the football or not securing it.
C.J. Cooper comes in. He's got 17 catches on the season as well. 3rd down and 10. Tigers bring pressure. Ball is bobbled, but it is caught. Will be shy of the 1st down, but this is not trying to be crass. That is a bit of a win for Oberlin to bring the punt team on and kick the ball away. 5-yard pickup here. It's 4th down.
Here it is, the pass from Nye to Cooper. The second, as you can see, makes the degree of difficulty a bit harder on himself. But as you said, a positive as you go to the sideline, you didn't at least give them or spot them even more points with lack of ball security.
2 men back deep for the Tigers. Devin Deanhart is one of them for DePauw. Bit of a sidewinder punt. That will bounce in play. That is a live football. And it's returned back to the 50-yard line. So a kick of about 30 yards. Ricciardi is the player that Was able to track it down for the Tigers, and a 1st and 10 for DePauw at the 49-yard line. So we will see their offense for the first time. Scott Ballantyne, the sophomore from Crown Point, 1,135 yards passing in 4 games this season, trying to replace former Cathedral star Nathan McCahill, who had himself a wonderful career here at DePauw University. And, of course, Scott, when it comes to throwing the football, like the backyard back home, looking for his older brother. That is Robbie, who already is now the record holder of most career receiving touchdowns with several games to play. 43 and counting. Ballantyne to Ballantyne. That is a completed pass. That is a tap pass. That is the modern version of student body right. And Ballantyne on the catch picks up 8 yards, and it's 2nd and 2.
Well, it's easy when there's already a predetermined connection between the brothers as they spent time growing up together in Crown Point, Indiana. But that connection has been alive and well to start this season, something that the Tigers are really going to have to depend on as they look ahead the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
So 2nd down and 2. Ground game pretty solid as well for this DePauw team. And on the handoff, that will be a gain of 5 yards and a 1st down. Caden Whitehead, Carson Johnson, Seth Mentz are all likely to see carries today. That is Caden Whitehead, the senior from Indianapolis, 4 rushing touchdowns, 217 yards. Park Tudor School for the local product from the north side of Indianapolis.
Caden's numbers are down just a bit when you think about what he did last year, only averaging just under 4 yards a carry, but it helps when you have a second figure to go to in the backfield in Carson Johnson.
Whitehead will help that per carry average right there. He picks up 13 yards. And part of that, too, again, last year's team at DePauw here was pretty special. A lot of seniors in that group a year ago, and also a team that's been kind of beaten up with some injuries along the offensive line position as well.
A group that Coach Dietz said has faced the injury bug at every single position. And I told him, I said, that's not always a negative because you gain experience through some of the troubles that you face with starters going down. And he said, I sure hope so that's the case. And so far doing a nice job.
Ballantyne, pitch and catch to his brother. That'll be a grab of 9 yards. So Robbie now with 2 catches. Came in with 35 on the season and 5 touchdowns. He's approaching 500 yards receiving now in game number 5. One player you will not see today is Leighton Lukowski. He is out due to an injury. And obviously, given the opponent, given the fact there's a bye next week, given the importance of the John Carroll game, if there was anybody questionable coming into today, that player is going to sit for this game and should be ready to go on October the 18th.
A guy in Lukowski who they're going to need down the stretch has carved out a nice role for himself as the second go-to receiver in this offense.
Ballantyne rolls and completes the pass in terms of the catch being made, but as you could see with our great camera work, he was well out of bounds. 3rd down and a yard, and you would think if you don't get a yard here, you'd go for it on 4th down.
This is part of some of the mental gymnastics that Coach Dietz talked about with his young quarterback, although it looked like Robbie may have gotten his foot just before it touched out of bounds, but understanding where your brother and the receiver is on the field, throwing the ball sooner, giving him an opportunity to actually come down inbounds with that catch so it is completed. I think Ballantyne just waited a second too long to let that ball go.
3rd and short. Bit of an off-kilter snap, but doesn't affect the process at all. Whitehead will pick up 4 yards. It is a DePauw 1st down.
Watch the stutter step by Whitehead. Just set the defense right there. Does enough just to let the blocks be settled into their right positioning, and then is able to advance for the 1st down.
In the Brett Dietz era, DePauw has scored at least 66 points in every meeting against Oberlin. Last year, a 72-0 victory. DePauw has allowed 20 points in that same time frame. Those are the 4 consecutive NCAC championships won by the Tigers under Coach Dietz. Tap passing into Ballantyne, and a waylay of a block by Caden Whitehead. Ballantyne stood up at about the 7-yard line. That is a gain of 6, but there'll be some teach tape about that block from Caden Whitehead.
This is called just being unselfish. When you are the featured guy coming out of the backfield, show that you're unselfish. Go ahead and lay the hammer, lay down the Oberlin defense as they're trying to pursue to your teammate, doing a nice job lead blocking, although he's sometimes known for toting the rock, that time being a blocker.
That was Jacob Epps, who his day changed after he ran into Mr. Whitehead. They will say Ballantyne actually stopped for a gain of 5 at the 8-yard line. Second and goal. And you can tell again, DePauw's playing a bit of a slower tempo here. They're trying to manage the game a little bit as well. Handoff goes to Whitehead, follows his blockers, and to the house. Touchdown, Tigers. It is 20-0, less than 6 minutes in.
It's just an easy, simple play inside. Get the away block from the tight end, and Palmer Samuels doing a nice job splitting the defense, getting that kick-out block, allowing Caden Whitehead to get into the end zone for the first offensive score of the game.
Well, this game is going according to plan so far, 20-0 in favor of the DePauw Tigers. And Matthew Barry is on for the extra point try. Matthew, a junior from Jacksonville, Florida. The extra point try is good. Again, we'll step aside for 30 seconds. It is all DePauw so far. Tigers lead at 21-0 on the ISC Sports Network.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
Let's thank our tremendous ISC Sports Network crew. Jordan Shue, Kyle Donlin, Vince Morales, Juan Guillen, Charlie Hammock, and Eldon Wheeler. Get alongside Jared Thomas. My name is Greg Rakestraw. 21-0 DePauw leading this one. Again, we knew this would be lopsided. And the victory for Oberlin is that they continue to maintain the fight. They hope for better days for days to come for the Yeomen. I know you're good friends with their defensive coordinator, correct?
That is exactly right. Coach Ben Hammer spent, I believe, 4 seasons at Northwestern, his first one being my last year there in 2019. An outstanding gentleman and football mind and doing a nice job leading a defense that had a lot of top 10, 11 tacklers in the league and conference a season ago, so doing a nice job for the Oberlin team.
From fair catch is called for, so football will be placed at the 25-yard line for the Yeomen. DePauw home 2 more times. They're home in 2 weeks for John Carroll. A couple of back-to-back weeks on the road. Already league victories against both Kenyon and Wittenberg. College of Worcester comes in here on November the 8th for what is the regular season home finale. Obviously, DePauw, though, is in line potentially to host Division III playoff games as they were a year ago, but they've got some big obstacles in the way before that becomes a fact. And that just discombobulated from the start. Nye figures out, you know what? Let's just reset here. A loss of 5. Lance Sloan was the player that was in motion for the Yeomen.
Not sure if everyone saw that, but Dominic Siebel gets into the backfield, just touches the quarterback at 9, then points to himself so he makes sure he gets accredited with the sack in the backfield. That would get him to 7 on the season, doing an outstanding job at defensive end.
Now, do they teach you that at Cathedral High School since you and Dom both?
Just being a heads-up football player, I think, is what we pride ourselves as Irishmen.
Well said. Second down and 15. Fake the handoff to Sloan. Again, Nye facing pressure and just realizes that play was going nowhere. And again, this Oberlin offense has been stuck in neutral for a good chunk of the year. Kind of looking at guys going through lineman drills. I think I counted 7 in today's game. But this is a monsters of the midway level defense at the Division III level they are facing at DePauw.
But it's an interesting storyline because this is a 3-down structured defense that wasn't so just a few years ago, something that actually Coach Dietz challenged Ryan McElwain when he got the job, that he wanted him to transition and put his own flair onto the front structure. He's adjusted and adapted nicely, and the output has been the numbers that they've put up defensively the last couple of seasons.
Trying to set up the screen, and again, that was blown up by immediate penetration of the backfield. So the Yeomen will kick it away after going negative 5 yards on that drive. And DePauw is doing nothing to hurt their leading run defense in the nation. And again, as you would imagine, they've allowed, in terms of the true rushing game, about 50 yards a game in that neighborhood. But then you peel the sack yardage off of that. They had allowed 6 yards rushing on the season. Right now, the running tote is negative 13 because Oberlin is at 19 south of the borderline there. Phenomenal punt. Fielded at the 37-yard line. Return being set up here and eventually being steered out of bounds, and a flag comes in. James Chickway will get credit for the tackle, but again, some of that yardage may come back. Kick that time was by Jackson Garstka.
But it's also important to note, going back to that rush defense as we get the call on the field, that Oberlin comes into today's matchup as a team having negative 68 rushing yards.
Correct.
So that further contributes to what DePauw already has established themselves in that
During the
category.
return, holding 43 of the return team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down DePauw.
That is Jack Brooks. By the way, he is joined by Sean Trochnia, Stephen Hayhurst, Saul Lemofsky, Tim Bradshaw, Matthew Hudis, and Seth Hampton, our officiating crew for today's contest. And it's not exactly strength versus strength in terms of going against that DePauw defense, no doubt about it. Back in the backfield. This time is Seth Menser. Both Carson Johnson and Seth Menser played at Cathedral High School. Jared feels like he's at a high school reunion when he comes and does DePauw football game. Quick hitter, Ballantyne, and makes one man miss. Dives forward, has a mouthpiece come fly, picks up 9 yards, and it's been just pretty solid every time that Ballantyne to Ballantyne has been involved in today's game.
Makes it easy when you know you have a reliable target out there. He's Robbie, that is, on track to break, be in the history books for DePauw football history for a long time with how he's been performing statistically in his time here in Greencastle.
Well, that catch now puts him at 200 catches at DePauw University. Ballantyne airs it out. Ballantyne on the other end. The party doesn't stop. 27-0 for DePauw. And for Ballantyne, that is his 44th career receiving touchdown.
And in 39 career games, that's 31 of them with a touchdown catch. But I love what Scott Ballantyne did with the offensive mechanics, selling the run, not so much RPO, but selling pass to give his receiver, his brother, time to get down, and then drops it right in the bucket for the touchdown.
The snapper is Caden Minogue.
Oh, the difference a night makes in football in Greencastle. Last night, the Tiger Cubs lost a game 98-13.
Saw that score and thought it wasn't real.
The college team is faring much better, 28-0, and we have played 7.5 minutes at this juncture. Again, we'll step away for 30 seconds. You're watching DePauw football on the ISC Sports Network.
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
28-0. See Coach Pont there on the front of your screen. There is hope that there are brighter days ahead for the Yeomen. Of course, this year the North Coast Athletic Conference, frankly, it's gotten tougher in football with the addition of John Carroll and Hiram exiting the league. League gets better next year, too. Wash U in St. Louis, one of the wonderful academic institutions in our nation. They will join the league for football only, effective next year. Part of the UAA for the majority of their sports in St. Louis. Gomez's kick, Garcia fields inside of the 10-yard line. And he'll make it back to about the 22-23. Ball pops free. That is a fumble, and DePauw has it again. Third turnover of the game recorded by the Tigers. Shane Gastineau, junior from Hamilton Southeastern, recovers the football. And a timeout going to be taken here by Oberlin.
They've seen the sideline, the guys on the field, the constant loose care of the football that the Yeomen have so far. So why not go create another game-changing play on special teams? Sometimes those things on special teams gets lost in the margins, but not when you create another fumble for your offense to get back on the field.
Well, Old Gold Weekend obviously is special on the DePauw campus, but there is something special brewing here. Has been for generations, but was announced on Thursday. New fundraising campaign at DePauw University, Bold, Gold, and You. The goal is to raise $575 million. Largest fundraising campaign in the 188-year history of this great institution. Already $285 million has been raised to this point. I'll tell you more about this exciting venture throughout the course of the broadcast. $172 million dedicated to the student experience. $150 million dedicated to scholarships. $93 million to faculty excellence. The DePauw Promise is something we'll talk about throughout the course of the broadcast as well.
I wasn't exactly proficient in math, but hearing those numbers.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
That's a lot of coin.
Yeah, absolutely. On the handoff, it's Menser. And Menser taken down after gain about 8 or 9 yards. Akko Taylor II had 19 tackles in the season coming in. Good for a gain of 9 yards. It'll be second and short.
Helps when even your third string running back in Seth Menser can go in and is a capable running back, can get the job done just as good as Whitehead and Johnson. Doing a nice job there on first down, getting almost all of it.
Menser came in with 17 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. He played in 3 of the first 4 games this year. And frankly, a lot of schools at this level, he is the featured tailback. Here, he's 3rd on the depth chart.
Just goes to show you the type of talent. We already talked about the numerous guys that come from Cathedral, a good amount of Carmel guys all over the state. Just a lot of talent here in Greencastle.
Ballantyne looking for the end zone and got his brother a bit turned around as Robbie quickly will roll over and hop back up. C.J. Cooper was the back in coverage. And it's 3rd down on the yard. Bit of a free play there on 2nd and short.
But an interesting thing, as you mentioned, C.J. Cooper, that's the receiver that we just talked about on offense. An interesting dynamic, something that you don't normally see at the collegiate level is guys playing both sides. But when numbers are low, the responsibility increases for guys to now handle 2 positions, which means 2 game plans. So a lot on the shoulders of these young men.
So 3rd and short. Handoff goes to Menser. Menser zigs, zags, sprints, dives, touchdown. Make it 5 scores for the Tigers, and we're less than 8 or 9 minutes in.
Anytime you're watching a running back hit the hole, just watch if it was a drastic cut, and then does he accelerate through contact? And I would say it's a check on both of those by Menser. Gets out of danger, runs into the end zone, and then finishes with physicality.
Akko Taylor, again, was there to meet him at the goal line, but Menser gets his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season.
Matthew Berry.
And the kick is up, and this is good. 35-0 for the Tigers. Again, you can put this one in the win column at this point. And you want to reward your guys for the hard work. And in one sense, DePauw hasn't had, they've won handily, but it's not been of the staggering variety. So this is a good chance to get some 2s and 3s, some reps today for the DePauw Tigers.
These are the games that you really get a great feel for what is the identity of your entire team. Those games that they haven't handled handily, those are the ones that you don't necessarily get to see those rotational players. But in a game like today, you understand, hey, there's a platform out there for them to take advantage of because you just never know. You may need those same guys later in the season in a key moment, and they can fall back on experiences that are lived today.
The performance of DePauw's football team so far equaled out of their wonderful SID and Bill Wagner, who was the Bob Williams Helping Hands Award winner from the Indiana Sports Writers and Sportscaster Association this year. He gives us on this date in the history of DePauw football. DePauw has got a little work to do if they want to have the highest scoring game on October the 4th in program history. In 1913, the Tigers beat Moores Hill 99-6. Some work to be done.
Based off of the output offensively and defensively, if we do 35 times 4.
Yeah, we're there. Yeah. I didn't go to Northwestern, but we're getting there. Do you know, by the way, what school Moores Hill is now?
I do not.
So Moores Hill is a town in Dearborn County in southeastern Indiana. Moores Hill was set to close its doors around 1920. That school was purchased and moved and is now the University of Evansville. And we're breaking out that level of trivia in the first quarter. It's 35. So ball placed the 25-yard line for the Yeomen. 3 turnovers so far by Oberlin, 1 on special teams and 2 on the first 5 offensive snaps of the game. Jake Hughes is the setback on this play for the Yeomen. 9. Out in the flat, it's Hughes, and Hughes gets back to the line of scrimmage and no more. Jimo Oyashigi and the aforementioned Nehemiah Dow. Played for Jason Simmons and then Russ Mann at Ben Davis High School. This is the amount of high school football we cover on ISC. There are certain players I see when they land at a small college, I will text that coach immediately and said, hey, job well done. I sent that to Brett about 2 or 3 years ago for that entire, hey, you're doing good here, buddy. 2nd and 10. Ball is tipped and incomplete. I think that was Siebel that got his hands on that one.
It's all about the activity from Siebel and this defensive front. When you're not able to affect the pass rush with a sack or even getting pressure, what do? Throw your hands up and you get into the passing lanes. That allows tip balls, gets all of the defensive secondary on high alert. Tip balls usually ends up in catastrophic plays offensively, which means massive turnovers defensively.
Jacob Day was the intended target. It was Rowland that was the closest player to it for the Tigers. Day, a young man from Belgium that is on the roster for Oberlin. 3rd and 10. Fake the handoff, quarterback draw, and nowhere to go. Loss of 2 on the play. And again, you can name your defensive lineman there, get in the backfield. You see one player kind of slowly walking off. That is Donovan Baker, sophomore from Memorial High School down at Evansville.
Luke Nolan also in on the stop.
But the punt team coming on, and Jackson Garska's last kick was a good one. Paul has, as you'd expect, kind of lived in this end of the field so far in the early stages of this game. High end over end kick, fair catch at the 42-yard line. That's good for a kick of 35 yards and no return. Because of the work of the defense and special teams, the drive did not exactly needed to be long or numerous for the DePauw Tigers. In fact, in terms of offensive snaps, 13 have been taken so far by DePauw. It's pretty good ROI. You got 35 points on 13 plays.
High efficiency so far.
I'd say so. Ballantyne. To Ballantyne. And again, those passes have been for the 6 and 7 yard variety. That is Andrew Foley, who had 25 tackles on the season coming in, that makes the play. Ballantyne picks up 5, 2nd down.
But the strength that Robbie Ballantyne showed there as Foley was all over his back, Ballantyne catching the ball with looked like the inside, outside parts of his hands, and was still able to maintain possession all the way through the finish of the tackle. Not just an explosive receiver, but strong at the point of attack, at the catch point.
The DePauw Tigers making every Saturday Ballantyne's Day at this point. Again, looking for the deep ball. And again, Ballantyne, that time it's 3 overthrow. So far, the younger of the Ballantyne brothers, Scott, is 6 of 9 for 78 yards and a touchdown. Robbie Ballantyne has 6 catches for 78 yards so far in this game.
And it felt like on that last throw that Scott pretty much predetermined that he was going to go to brother, almost triple covered Robbie was. Sometimes you're okay with that if you're Coach Dietz, understanding how on fire those two are in the early parts of this game.
So 3rd down and 5. DePauw 2 for 2 in the early stages of this game on 3rd down. Fake the run. It's the pass. It's Ballantyne, and Ballantyne able to maintain his balance, and he will score. Needed 5 yards for the first down. He'll take 53 yards for the touchdown. And the beat goes on for the Tigers. It's now 41-0.
Whether Scott Ballantyne saw it or not, saw a middle of the field safety, which means they were in some type of cover 1 coverage variation. It was cover 3, and Robbie just beat the outside coverage and just with his legs takes it to the house for another touchdown. DePauw rolling.
181 yards of offense in the opening quarter. Barry on for the extra point try. And again, you may hear another whistle or horn today because DePauw is quite busy on Old Gold weekend. There is field hockey taking place on Rivas Field to our right as you're looking at this stadium. There will be soccer later and volleyball later as well. You know, Jared, I can call a variety of sports. Field hockey is not one of them. I'll call my buddy Dave Leno, who is the voice of the Philadelphia Union soccer team on radio, but also is a field hockey play-by-play guy. That was the domain of our buddy Brad Hodder for so many years as the men's soccer coach here at DePauw University. And we see one of his former assistant coaches on a very regular basis, James Jenkins, doing a whale of a job as the head soccer coach at Marion University. Well, frankly, you have been involved in lopsided games on both ends of it. If you're DePauw, you're up 42-0. Now what is the outlook like for the rest of this game?
You just have a set of criteria that you're trying to accomplish within the game. If you're the defense, don't even allow them past, that is the Yeomen, past the 50-yard line. I think they've done a nice job. Still plenty of game to go. And then offensively, can you get a touchdown on every drive? And I think so far they have done that. But setting a set of criteria for your team to really look to within the game that doesn't just go, hey, we want to run the score up, but can we be effective and efficient? And so far, it's checked for both of those boxes.
14 plays, negative 10 yards currently for Oberlin. 16 plays, 181 yards so far for the Tigers. And on the kickoff, it's returnable. Cooper Fields at the 9-yard line. Cooper will bounce this outside. Good looking run back here.
C.J. Cooper on the return for the Yeomen.
Ball at the 27-yard line.
Clark Simpson on the tackle for the Tigers.
This drive will start just past the 25. Right now, Oberlin is trying to get a foot in the ground at this point. Get some positive traction in this game. As we mentioned, it's been, for a school that historically has struggled, it's been even rough by those standards so far this year. On the handoff and loss of one of the play. That is Jake Hughes, one of the seniors on this team from Leesburg, Virginia. Yeoman began the season losing at home to Calvin out of Michigan, 88-6. And played former league rival Hiram. Terriers won that game 58-21. Then went to John Carroll and lost 63-0. And last week, lost at home to future opponent for the Tigers, College of Wooster, 38-0. Fake the handoff, Nye on the throw. Again, that is Hughes, and Hughes again gets positive yardage. It'll be the final play of the quarter. He'll pick up 2, maybe 3, and it sets up 3rd down and 8 coming up for Oberlin. To say the first quarter went well for the Tigers would be a bit of an understatement. In 12 minutes of football, DePauw 42 and Oberlin nothing. You're watching DePauw football on the ISC Sports Network.
At the DePauw Indoor Tennis and Track Center, located west of the home stands, is available as a cooling area throughout today's game.
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous. I gotta make friends, and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away, and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
You know how sometimes you get late in the fall, it's still pretty warm, and you see a few more insects that start to swarm? Swarming is the way to describe this DePauw defense so far. They've allowed -8 yards on 16 plays. Also, the defense has had 2 scoop and scores, and special teams got on the fun as well with a fumble recovery of their own. 3rd down and 8 coming up here for the Yeomen. Drew Nye, the quarterback, senior from Connecticut, takes the snap, has some time, throws, catch made, won't be a first down. But J.J. Raz with the reception. And here comes the punt team on for Oberlin.
But that defense for DePauw, it all starts with what can you generate up front with your defensive line. Even if you only rush 3 or if you only rush 4, can they be disruptive? And so far, the test of that group this season means, yes, they absolutely can, which allows some freedom from the 2nd level to the 3rd level of your defense to roam freely and then swarm to the ball.
Garska back to kick this ball away. Field at the 32-yard line. Ricciardi out the right side, and he'll be steered towards the sideline and eventually knocked forward at the 31-yard line. Another short field to work with for the DePauw Tigers. Ricciardi, a junior from Chicago, Illinois. And he has kind of been the number 2 receiving threat in most games. Obviously, it has been all Ballantyne so far today for DePauw.
A guy that Coach Dietz says is explosive in the slot, where you will see him most of the time. All of the games that I've saw from him, he has done an outstanding job of being a possession receiver, just getting the ball at timely parts of the game and extending that to 15, 20-yard gains, which is why he's 2nd on the team in longest gain from a receiver at 43, just behind, I would imagine you know who, and Robbie Ballantyne at 47 at the start of today's game.
Whitehead is the tailback. Scott Ballantyne stays in the game as the quarterback. Ballantyne, pitch and catch to his brother again. Catch made, and that's kind of been the long handoff so far for DePauw. Just run the quick out, get him to 6 or 7 yards. It'll be 2nd down.
It's interesting that Oberlin continues to put Andrew Foley out on an island by himself against Robbie Ballantyne. I understand that Foley leads the team in pass deflections, but this has been an absolute mismatch in the way that Ballantyne ran rampant in that first quarter.
Handoff goes to Whitehead. Whitehead brings it left side. Right around the first down marker. That is Jackson Bloomfield over to make the tackle. And again, in this unique scenario for Oberlin, Jackson getting some play at right tackle and at defensive end. Whitehead picks up what he needed to move the chains. Ball to the 21-yard line after a gain of, call it, 4. Whitehead 5 carries for 32 yards. Menser 2 carries, 22 yards. Both backs with a touchdown today. Maybe since we saw it go from Whitehead to Menser, we may not see Carson Johnson in today's game for DePauw. Whitehead again. And this time, great job by Whitehead just to keep the legs churning, because he was met pretty much at the point of attack. Jacob Epps, senior from Chicago, makes the tackle for the Yeomen. Gain of 5 on the play, 2nd down.
Whitehead, a 2024 first-team all-conference selection, did a lot of damage on the ground, 929 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. Did some work in the receiving game as well. So as I mentioned, not getting off thus far this season, but always a viable threat out of the backfield.
Little jet sweep handoff. Again, that goes to Ballantyne, and does a good job of picking his way through the defense when not much was there. Almost thought that might be a throwback.
It wasn't a might. That was going to be a throwback. You can see Scott, as he hands the ball off, look at him go back, looking for Robbie to find him. And I would imagine Robbie didn't feel comfortable launching one back across the formation with all those defenders in his face.
He will hear about that at Family Thanksgiving for years to come. I was wide stinking open. Why did you? I throw you the football all the time.
I was
you
just
could have thrown
about
it
to
to me
say.
one time.
All the touchdown passes we have together, and you couldn't get me one.
First and goal, 10-yard line. Hand off to Whitehead. And again, you're trying to find anything positive for Oberlin. They have defended the run relatively well so far in this game. Whitehead limited to a gain of 3 on the play. Hunter Green makes the tackle. He had 33 of those coming in on the season.
I talk about that defense having 3 top 11 tacklers. Hunter Green was one of them with 77 a season ago. Leads this team in tackles and tackles for loss. So that's someone that Coach Hammer can depend on in the middle of his defense to not just be a magnet to the football, but to be a leader.
Second and goal. And whistles come in here. Timeout called by Oberlin. So timeout Oberlin. We'll keep it right here. Oberlin coming up. They will host Kenyon. And again, Kenyon was a team that DePauw beat very handily last year, but you saw him 2 weeks ago. Kenyon gave DePauw a fight into the fourth quarter of that game. Then it's a bye week for the Yeomen, and they will play host to Wittenberg, will Oberlin. Denison up next in the schedule. The game before the Monon Bell for Wabash will be Oberlin. Then we'll finish with Ohio Wesleyan at the end of the season with this Oberlin squad.
Going back to that Kenyon game between the Owls and the Tigers here just a couple of weeks ago, that game was actually going to be 7-7 going into halftime. It wasn't until quarterback Anthony Garzolini came in and launched one from 40-plus to Leighton Lukowski that really got some life into this crowd and on the sideline, and then they went on to score 28 in the second half and just did an outstanding job finishing that game. But for the most part in that first half, it was pretty tied neck and neck.
Jared, how's your Heisman pose, by the way?
I'd like to say it's pretty good. Haven't practiced it that much, but I feel like I'm a showman.
The Heisman pose for Oberlin is just a picture of John Heisman. He coached for 2 years at Oberlin, went 11-2-1 in 1892 and 1894. Second and goal coming up here for the Tigers. Fake the handoff on the throw, slant catch, and touchdown. Ballantyne does it again. His 9th catch, his 3rd score, 48-0 Tigers midway through the second quarter.
When you're the Yeoman and you're in this part of the field, not that much to defend, so you get greedy when you see run fit action. They've been on the run, and it was an easy pitch and catch, brother to brother for another score.
Of the 7 touchdowns, 5 to the offense, 2 for the defense. Barry on for the extra point try. He's going to have this kick down pretty well. And of course, I broadcaster jinxing. He misses it wide right. Maybe his leg's getting tired from all those extra point tries.
Not a perfect game for DePauw thus far.
It was until that kick. That's the only thing that's gone wrong so far. And now the question is, again, and defensively, you're used to kind of working the twos a little bit more. Now you kind of go, all right, at what point in time is it the 2 time? And fittingly, we're showing you a picture of Robbie Ballantyne. You may have noticed the guy wearing number 1 just picked up a football. Garzolini is starting to loosen up. That may be about it for the ones offensively for DePauw today.
And Garzolini has an argument to be the starting quarterback as well, just simply because that was a quarterback battle that Scott Ballantyne ultimately won. But when you watch Garzolini throw the football, he has the attributes that you want in a quarterback. He has the size that you would like to see in a quarterback. So although he is the second string quarterback, it could get just as ugly for the Yeomen.
Yeah, Garzolini is a young man that had a very decorated high school football career. South Vermilion High School, and at this level, you don't often get transfers from the FCS level, but that's the case for Garzolini. He played for Kurt Mallory at Indiana State. Gomez's kick. And this will reach the end zone, and that will be a touchback, and the Yeomen will have the football at the 25-yard line. Other games around the North Coast today. This was the early flyer of the group. Wittenberg plays at Worcester at 2. Ohio Wesleyan plays at Denison at 3. But the main event is Wabash at John Carroll. And again, John Carroll, first time they are playing Wabash since 1961. John Carroll, a perennial powerhouse from the OAC, made the move to the North Coast this year. And we will learn a lot about both of those two teams coming up at 2:30. That game in Northern Ohio. Neither quarterback, and Jaden Eaton is the setback. Eaton had 16 carries on the season coming in. He's got 2 carries for a total of 3 yards, and Yeomen were late in getting set on that play.
Away game, offense, 5 yards, first down.
Jiming Tang was the player that was slow to get to the right tackle position. Tang, a junior from China. 1st and 15. Nye. Pressure comes. Ball is knocked free. DePauw's got it. Back at the 2-yard line. Siebel is the player that knocked it free and got the sack. Roselle on the recovery. And once again, short field time for DePauw University.
When you get in the backfield so quickly and you force a reaction from the quarterback that ultimately ends up in a turnover, that just means the offensive line had no answer for Dominique Siebel as you see him getting into the backfield in Nye's face quicker than he could ever anticipated, and then everyone swarming to the football, recovering another fumble given up by Oberlin.
We'll see the ones come back out here. Whitehead, the tailback. Ballantyne at quarterback. Jack Gordon out for this play as well from a flanker standpoint. Simple handoff to Whitehead. Whitehead dives. Touchdown. Making 54 for the Tigers. Again, the last 4 years, DePauw has scored 66 or 72 in their matchups against Oberlin, and obviously on their way to something similar this time around.
That's now twice that Jacob Epps from Oberlin thought he had a free access invitation to the ball carrier. In the first quarter, it was to Robbie Ballantyne, and he met Caden Whitehead. That time, he met Palmer Samuels, which was essentially an away block that escorted Whitehead into the end zone. So you see some paying it forward by Caden in the first quarter, and then getting the same thing done for him for a score of his own.
Gomez on for the extra point try and nails it. 55-0 Tigers. We're back in 30 seconds to Greencastle. You're watching on ISC.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
A look at the historic nature of this end of the DePauw University campus. I'm not sure I've done a football game in this close proximity to a cemetery. Believe it or not, I've done a soccer match from right next to a cemetery as well. I think there's also one just past the left field wall, the baseball stadium, Bob Warren Field at Indiana State University. We get to cemetery talk in quarter number 2, 55-0. DePauw with the lead. Greg Rakestraw, Jared Thomas with you. This ball takes Cooper back to the edge of the end zone, and now he's pot committed. Comes out and taken down just shy of the 15-yard line. Again, Oberlin historically has struggled in this sport. That's an understatement. Do have a game won each of the last 2 years. They beat Hiram last year. Beat Concordia of Chicago, River Forest to be precise, 2 years ago. During the decade of the 90s, they had 2 separate 40-game losing streaks at Oberlin.
But on the topic of losing, in four wins in 5 seasons from 2018 to 2022, can't count 20 because no games were played, but that's only 4 wins before Coach Pont took over. And in the 3 years now that he has been head coach, they have 2 wins to his name. So you could argue that he has done a job that hadn't been seen for a few years in this program.
Nye will keep, and Nye will be dropped. And again, there is little resistance coming from that offensive line. Nye will lose 3 on the play. And again, obviously, job number 1 is try to get more students on campus to play football. Job 2 is to somehow maintain the players that you do have from saying, hey, forget this. You know, we're going to – I'd rather not do this every Saturday and put the work in and not see results.
But this is just the uphill climb that you face when you're in this position. If you're Coach John Pont and you have to go through these dog days, you have to go through something traumatic, which is these games that just get out of hand so quickly, to actually know the distance in which you're trying to go to because you've come from so far, which is a very low point right now.
Cannon Steele on the grab. We'll get forward progress back to the original line of scrimmage on the drive of the 15-yard line. Tackle made in pretty quick fashion by the Tigers. Tackle made by Cam Lester, junior from St. Louis, Missouri. You're starting to see the 2s now defensively for DePauw. Danny McCoy amongst that group, senior inside linebacker, wearing number 51. And Shoppy out there as well, backup defensive end. Play clock at 2. 3rd down and 10. Little double reverse. Trying to throw the deep ball, and the only problem is nobody was there. And that'll end the drive. It'll be 4th down.
Just about to say, there was really no one for Drew Nye to connect with down the field besides offensive linemen releasing for what looked to be a screen pass, but no one in close proximity. Another drive that doesn't travel very far for the Yeomen.
So Yeomen on to put the football away. 5th kick of the game for Jackson Garstka. And Oberlin will have to burn a timeout because they are getting ready to see the play clock expire. So 3rd and final timeout taken by the Yeomen here with 5:48 to go before halftime. 55-0 the score. Last year, the Tigers, every regular season game, scored 33 or more. And they won this game last year 72-0. And a 65-0 win at Kenyon. A lot of games a season ago were like this. This year, DePauw has decidedly been the victor, but the games have been a bit more competitive. It allowed 28 points on the season. It scored no more than 40. Defense has been just as magnificent as they have been in years gone by.
Part of that success for Coach Dietz and this team, as I talked with him just a couple of weeks ago, was that process that they have as a senior retreat that provides a forum of goal setting and getting everyone on the same page with where the team is trying to go, having returners on both sides of the ball, having a quarterback that's in place, something that they all set aside time for looking ahead, and it's really paid some huge dividends. And the message that they left from this past senior retreat is just being the hunter and not the hunted, because they understand the level of success that they've had the last few years, and everyone's going to be out for them. So some reverse psychology and being the ones going after their opponent.
Garska's punt was under pressure, and it went sideways, and punt will be downed at the 35-yard line. Another short field here for the Tigers. And an off weekend next weekend for DePauw.
Oberlin 35-yard line.
Massive game against John Carroll in 2 weeks. That game will go a long way to determine what the rest of the season looks like for DePauw. Now it's Garzolini's chance. So Anthony, 6 of 9 on the season with a passing touchdown.
Quarterback for the Tigers.
They'll go a little deeper into the running back depth chart as well. Luke Russo will be the running back here.
And it's worth noting that Garzolini's 3 incompletions came in the first game that he played in against Rose-Hulman, and the broadcaster Jinx just brought it up, and that's his 4th win.
Yeah, that game had been the most lopsided game that DePauw had played this season until this one. DePauw made the short trip to play their old conference rival. Won that one 40-0. Second down. So if Valentine's Day is done, and you would assume it is, 9 of 1,245 yards and 3 touchdowns. Handoff, Russo. And Russo charges forward, be right around the first down marker. Russo, a young man from Louisville, attended Kentucky Country Day School. Senior ground gainer.
Ian Busher doing a nice job right in the hole, laying a huge block for his ball carrier to take advantage of, getting some guys blocked up and accounted for up front. As you already mentioned, some of these backups getting opportunities to play already in the second quarter.
3rd down and a yard. Another new back in the game as well. Caden Bond now is the ball carrier, and Caden bounces it outside, cuts it back inside, and keeps the legs going down to the 9-yard line. A 17-yard pickup for Caden Bond. Sophomore from Delta High School. Makes it 1st and goal.
This is a guy that played quarterback in high school. I got a chance to watch some of his games a couple of years ago, and just what he's able to do as an athlete, manipulating the defense, constantly keeping his head up, probing with cutbacks, jump cuts, all to keep going forward, getting underneath the 10-yard line.
Hunt Hildebrand comes in for this snap for DePauw as they're starting to rotate through second and third stringers already here late in the second quarter. Frankly, you now kind of manage the game by taking some time to signal in plays and shorten things up a little bit here. Play clock is at 7 when this ball is snapped. Garzolini looking for the end zone for Hildebrand, and well, it's not Hildebrand, but it's a touchdown regardless. Jack Gordon on the touchdown grab to make it 61-0 in favor of DePauw.
2 receivers in the area, so you imagine your probability to complete this one very high. Garzolini throwing it up for his receiver with great anticipation, doing his best Scott Valentine act, getting his first score of the game through the air.
Gordon, sophomore from Denver, Colorado, listed as the backup to Valentine, which means he hasn't seen the ball a lot this year. Gomez on for the extra point try. And his kick off the upright. So 2 missed extra points. The only thing anywhere close to negative for DePauw in this football game. Now 61-0.
It's the beautiful part about sports, that even when you feel like you're clicking on all cylinders, there is still something for you to work on. And for the DePauw Tigers, it's in that special teams category and those extra points.
And I think the fact that that's been a bit of an issue is a bit of a surprise, just because, you know, Barry and Gomez have been here for some time. Barry, a junior, Gomez, a senior. They've seen a lot of wins and, frankly, had a lot of experience at those positions. But if that's your concern, when you've scored 9 touchdowns, you made just 7 extra points, you're in a pretty good spot.
And I would imagine Barry is a bit concerned as well with a extra point percentage of 97%, 109 of 112 attempts at the start of this game. So you imagine that 97% goes down just a little bit, which anything less than 97 doesn't look as good.
Alexander Gibbs now will get a crack at this. DePauw goes to a 3rd at kicker. Fair catch. And Oberlin will start the drive to the 25-yard line.
Fair catch by Cooper.
Yeoman still in negative territory in terms of total yards. Get to pick up a first down, have Oberlin. They have run 21 plays. DePauw has run 27. 11 of those plays have resulted in a first down. Yeoman 0 for 6 on third down so far in the game.
As we talked with Coach Dietz before the game, he talked about incoming class and what they've lost in the past couple of years, what they're going to lose after this season. But one area that I know he's pretty pleased with is picking up where they left off defensively after they lost what he said a senior class last year that was filled with Hall of Famers and All-Americans in their own regard because the class was so small, but the impact was so profound.
That will be the first down of the game for the Yeoman, and a gain of 11 yards. That is Jacob Day that makes the sliding grab. They had 3 catches for 9 years on the season. Usually it's the other type of football where I might say, hey, players from Belgium. That is the case for Jacob Day. So 11-yard pickup. Out in the flat again. Catch made. Call it a gain of 4. That is J.J. Raz. And again, you're just trying to get some semblance of something for Oberlin.
And it would be nice to look J.J. Raz's way a lot more, leading the team in receiving. Almost 200 yards before today's contest, 2 touchdowns on the season. And one thing that has to be pointed out, at the skill position, a lot of the names that we've mentioned today, J.J. Raz being one of them, C.J. Cooper the second, and even on defense, they're young there. So these guys are getting invaluable experience playing in high-level games against teams like DePauw.
Another catch made. Player down behind the play for DePauw. We got an injured player we'll check on for the Tigers. That is Donovan Baker. That is down in a bad way for DePauw. So, catch and first down for Oberlin. Again, that is Raz that makes the play. So 3 consecutive plays to the positive for the Yeoman. And they have the football a yard shy of midfield, and they have not crossed that plane yet today. We'll step aside while we tend to an injured player. We're back in a moment as you're watching DePauw football on ISC.
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous. I gotta make friends, and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away, and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
Well, good to see Baker up and under his own power and quickly getting to the line of, or back to the DePauw sideline. First 2 first downs of the game on the last 3 plays for the Yeoman. They put some points on the board this year. They have not scored in their 2 conference games so far. Put up 6 against Calvin, which is relatively new to play in football. Great Division III program up in Grand Rapids. Pressure applied, and Nye grabbed by a shoulder pad and kind of ragdolled that time by Vincent Neal, former Carmel Greyhound. And we are to the 2-minute timeout. And the time in positive yardage for Oberlin was brief offensively. As Neal, who is used to playing on the ISC Sports Network, will get the sack. We'll see Carmel next week on both ISC and MyIndy TV 23. As Carmel will play host to Warren Central. Jared slid over to the play-by-play chair last night for Frankfort and North Putnam. How did that go for you?
It was a new experience, one that you didn't know what to expect, but honestly, Coach Bob Maslam, a great guy to share the booth with. Frankfort did some things in that game that they haven't done this season, which is score more than 10 points, 8 on the season, and they got up to 20 for total points for this 25 campaign. But it was a fun experience, so appreciate you for putting me in position.
I appreciate you for being willing to take the assignment. We are lucky enough on ISC, we produce up to as many as 7 games on a given Friday night, and we happen to have one additional analyst and no additional play-by-play guy. So I said, Jared, you have a Northwestern education. You speak the King's English quite well. I'm going to slide you over a chair tonight, buddy, and you can have a life experience. So thank you for that. 2nd and 15. Ball tipped away. Blanket coverage applied. Cooper was the intended target. Player that knocked that away.
The defender on the scene, John Tobin.
John Tobin, senior, getting some extra playing time tonight for DePauw. This DePauw team has a lot of duplicate numbers. Clearly not a problem for Oberlin. If there's a hesitation as we get deeper into the game, that's why for DePauw in terms of making sure we assign the right player credit. How about 4 wide near side on this formation for the Yeomen? Paul brings just 3, but they get pressure. Nye fires and interception. Picked off. I think we're going to say another official come in and say, no, that was an incomplete pass. Yep, incomplete.
Pass is ruled incomplete.
You can always tell by the defender, and this is Cam Lester on this specific play, if they truly feel that it was an interception. So he flies in here, the ball looks to hit the ground, and yes, it does. But when he jumps up, he doesn't celebrate it as if he's gotten the interception. He's just letting everyone else do it for him. That's always a clear indicator how confident the receiving end of that DB is, whether it's an interception or not. Nonetheless, a great play by Cam Lester, jumping in front of that pass by Nye.
Garska's kick, a good one. Fair catch is called for at the 18-yard line. And we'll see just how aggressive DePauw is. Obviously, this game long in hand for DePauw. And you want to get your kids some reps, but you're also trying to be gracious and sportsmanlike in the effort as well.
A show of sportsmanship that I learned at Cathedral High School is when you're winning big, Coach Rick Strife, that is, now the athletic director there at Cathedral, you never want to be a showboat. You always want to handle victories and losses with humility. So a kind gesture as we go into the back part of this game of sportsmanship from DePauw to Oberlin.
Gar's leaning into pistol. It'll be a handoff. And
Handoff to Peyton
just
Cross for the Tigers.
taking players with him. That'll be a gain of 8. Peyton Cross, junior from Sheridan. Blackhawks are good again in 1A football this year.
Along with
2nd down and 2. Of course, this is the first year in the history of Western civilization that Sheridan has not been coached by Bud Wright. And by Western civilization, we get about 60 years. For those of you watching outside of Indiana, Bud is the all-time wins leader, north of 450 in terms of Indiana high school football. Russ Radke is second behind him, still coaching at Knox, who is unbeaten, one of the better teams in 3A, and likely have the Mr. Football on their roster, and Miles McLaughlin. 2nd and 2 on the handoff. Cross will bounce it outside. Cross has a first down. He'll be eventually stopped at about the 37-yard line. Even though the chains are about to reset, clock is still running, and again, I think we may be in that territory now where that clock is going to move at a pretty good pace from this point in time forward. And I'm not sure DePauw will feel the need to snap this ball again. And as I say that, players are starting to make their way to the sidelines. And yes, 61 is enough. Well, through one half, we thought it would be one-sided. I'm not sure we thought it would be like this. 61-0. DePauw has the lead at halftime. On Old Gold Day, the gold is shining brightly here in Putnam County. All Tigers and then some. Halftime coverage comes your way next as you're watching DePauw University football on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous. I gotta make friends and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
It was Mel Brooks that once said, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. This one is kind of that territory. 61-0 DePauw leading Oberlin. Greg Rakestraw, Jared Thomas. I'm sure we'll show highlights at some point in time. We can go over stats. But I'm not sure 61-0 needs much in the way of further explanation. Again, it is a DePauw program that comes in ranked 13th in the nation. It is an Oberlin program that is just trying to finish the season. And this is about as one side of a football game as I think you and I have seen in our broadcasting days, playing days, fan days, etc.
But this is exactly what you want to see if you are the DePauw Tigers, and that's simply just to flex your muscles in games that you are supposed to dominate, and that's what they've done today. I'm sure Coach Dietz is pleased, but although with all that being said, 2 extra points missed in that first half, still more work to be done, some yards given up by the defense, twos that is, but still you move as one and as a team, so there's still more work to be done as they go into the second half.
Halftime speeches are going to be very different in these two locker rooms. You kind of detailed what you're focusing on if you are Brett Dietz. And again, you're already on your 2s and 3s. And basically now you will tell assistant coaches, I want you to tell me which kids have not gotten reps yet. We will make sure everybody gets it. If you're in a uniform today, you're going to get a chance to play in the second half. If you are Coach Pont, you have some degree, some experience at giving the talk you're about to give. What are the signs you are looking for if you're Oberlin in half number 2?
It's just about doing something better in the second half than you did the first. And that's a very simple way to describe it, but it's very true. And it needs to be recognized in this particular game for the Yeomen. They didn't get any first downs until the end of that second quarter. So can they come out in the second half, no matter who's on the field defensively for DePauw, and operate their offense, execute the plays that are called, and then live with the results at the end of the day? But for them, I'm sure the message from Coach Pont to his players, it can't get worse than it did in the first half, because we're going out to fight for more and do better than we did than that first 24 minutes of action.
61-0. DePauw is in the lead at halftime. They're about to win their 29th consecutive regular season game. And Brett Dietz's mark as the head coach of the Tigers will be 46-7 officially about an hour or so from now. Let's learn more about this wonderful campus in DePauw University.
Rivalry.
Let's go, Tigers!
It's what drives us, pushes us,
makes us strive for greatness. At DePauw University, we embrace challenges both on and off the field.
We excel in academics,
athletics,
and beyond.
We rise to every challenge together.
on the field,
In the classroom,
and in our community.
the Monon Bell game is more than a rivalry.
It's a celebration of hard work,
dedication,
And the relentless pursuit of victory.
it's about tradition.
it's about family.
It's about being part of something bigger.
At DePauw, rivalry fuels our ambition.
Let's go!
Because we know every challenge makes us stronger.
Every play, every moment, every cheer echoes commitment to being our best.
Victory is earned.
Respect is given. We play for both. Our rivalry with Wabash isn't just about the game. It's about preparing for success in all areas of life.
Over 100 years of other men that have played.
It's not just about the game. It comes down to tradition and brotherhood.
Being able to build your own legacy with your class.
We always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
Catch made. Touchdown. Ball game. DePauw will win.
Let's go, Tigers!
Driven by rivalry,
Defined by excellence.
DePauw University.
Time for our first half highlights as those fly by. Let's give you some of the numbers from half number one. First of all, the big font, 61-0, DePauw leading Oberlin. In terms of total offensive plays, DePauw had 29 for 270 yards. That's more than 9 yards of play. Oberlin, 27 plays totaling -1 yards. Rushing yards for the Tigers, 15 carries, 116 yards. For Oberlin, 9 carries. They lost 43 yards. Passing plays for the Yeomen, they were 8 of 18 for 42 yards. Two different quarterbacks, the Tigers, went a combined 10 of 14 for 154 yards. Individual numbers of note for DePauw: Caden Whitehead, 8 carries, 41 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Seth Menser, 2 carries, 22 yards, and a touchdown. Scott Ballantyne, 9 throws, 12 attempts, 145 yards, 3 touchdowns. Anthony Garzolini was 1 for 2. His one was for a 9-yard touchdown. Robbie Ballantyne, 9 catches, 145 yards, and 3 scores. Jack Gordon, 1 catch, 9 yards, and a touchdown. For Oberlin, Drew Nye was 8 of 18, 42 yards. J.J. Raz, 3 catches for 17 yards. Jacob Day had 1 catch for 11 yards. For Oberlin, Akko Taylor, Andrew Foley, and Hunter Green all had 4 tackles. No player for DePauw had more than 2 tackles, but again, the first 2 scores of the game for the Tigers were scoop and scores. Green, 10-yard scoop and score touchdown, 40 seconds in. Tariq Jimo Oyashigi had a 25-yard fumble return for a touchdown as well. In total, there were 4 touchdowns, or 4 turnovers, 3 of those defensively, 1 of those on special teams. And again, this game has been every bit as lopsided as the numbers you see on your screen. Mr. Thomas, any of those numbers in particular jump off the page at you?
I think the -43 rushing yards, because sometimes when you talk about rush defense, it's not numbers that are south of 0. It's always numbers that are low in the average department or for the total rushing yards for the entirety of the game. But this Ryan McElwain defense has taken a charge when it comes to rush defense and turning the tide on what that actually means. So I'm thoroughly impressed anytime I see negative rushing yards on the side of a defense, just because understanding, yes, those sack yards do contribute to that rush total, but absolutely getting it done if you're on that defense for the Tigers, starting with the defensive line, the linebackers, Oyashigi being one of those guys flying around, getting guys down to the ground consistently, and it showed not just this game, not just this season, but even last season.
Again, coming into the game, DePauw had allowed 6 yards rushing on the season. Again, if you factor in sack yardage in there, if it was just straight running back carries, they've allowed about 50 yards rushing per game. But as of now, we are 4.5 games into the season. DePauw technically has allowed negative 37 yards rushing on the season. Again, that is a jaw-dropping stat, just as that score, 61-0 in favor of DePauw. We touched on this in the first half. We're going to come back and tell you about the massive fundraising effort that was officially announced on Thursday on this campus when we come back. Again, it feels like summer. Trees say, no, it's October. DePauw, 61-0. They lead Oberlin as you're watching on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous because I gotta make friends and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away, and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
All DePauw, and again, this is a good problem to have, not just the score on the lower right-hand side, but as I joked with Bill Wagner, I said, you're about out of scoreboard space to list your conference championships. Each of the last 4 years here at Nick Morose's field. Again, DePauw has really 2 key games of their 5 remaining left that will determine, is there a 5th sign that goes on the board here. One of them is the next game here. That will be against John Carroll. Rob Brown, Dale Carlson have that one for you on October the 18th here on the ISC Sports Network. And then it is always, when's the bell game? It is 42 days away. It is at Little Giant Stadium. It is sold out, which means get used to hearing my voice if you don't have a ticket, because Wabash and DePauw play each other, and I am honored, and we are honored, as the ISC Sports Network to be your home for the 5th year of the Monon Bell Classic. From Monon Bell, 131. And God bless our head of production, Jordan Shue, who's our production director for today's game. We are working on a technical innovation to make this broadcast truly global and interactive. So consider that the professional broadcast tease 6 weeks out in terms of what we're adding to our Bell coverage this year. You hung with me in the booth a couple of years ago. Want to reprise that role again?
Yes, I
want
do.
to come back and be the get-back coach, for lack of a better term?
That'd be a lot of fun.
All right, consider it booked. We'll have Jared as a part of the broadcast. I'm joined by Steve Huffman, joined as well by Brad Wakamerka, and we have a great deal of fun. Obviously, DePauw has now won the Bell game 3 consecutive years in a row. Wabash has been good. We all expect with Jake Gilbert another step's going to be taken by Wabash. Should be a great one on November the 15th. We mentioned this early in the broadcast. I want to revisit it here. DePauw University on Tuesday announced the Blue, Gold, and U campaign, a $575 million fundraising campaign. The good news is already $285 million have been donated or spoken for as part of this campaign. Here are the prongs of what this campaign is all about. A robust student experience, $172 million attributed to that. That's going to enhance key aspects of campus life, like upgraded housing, more chances to study abroad, enriched internship and research programs, and of course what you're seeing right here, a thriving athletic culture. The 3-school framework is something that DePauw is stressing from an academic and, frankly, life skills standpoint. $116 million will go to that. Again, 3 schools initiative, which basically means liberal arts, business, and leadership, but also giving the creativity to equip students to lead, create, and innovate within and beyond the university's boundaries. Also, $150 million for scholarships. This represents commitment to ensuring that every talented student can access a DePauw education regardless of their financial circumstances. And this campaign seeks to expand the DePauw promise, eliminate barriers, and invest in financial aid and attract top scholars. And how about this? $93 million for faculty excellence. Funding provides critical support for attracting, retaining, and empowering faculty and staff. They are the scholars and mentors who lead academic innovation and inspire students for generations. You are, I believe, 5.5 years, maybe 4.5 years removed from obtaining your college degree at another wonderful institution at Northwestern University. When you hear a school is doing that for those things, what immediately comes to your mind?
It's just a dedication and an intention to better the university. Simply put. And I think it's important for everyone to understand that when you have excellence in certain parts of the campus, the messaging can sometimes get lost because the football team does great and this part of campus does great. But when it's a university collective type of thing, that means the entire community is backing that university experience. And that's when you can really do special things because everyone is moving as one sound and one body.
So again, that is part of the Bold, Gold, and U campaign. DePauw.edu will have more information. Tigers will have the football when we start quarter number 3. We're still a couple of minutes away from that being the case. And to be blunt, we expect this second half to roll quickly at a 61-0 score. And it was 72-0 when these two teams got together a season ago. Tigers off next week. Then John Carroll is here. Then it's at Denison, at Ohio Wesleyan, home to Worcester, then at Wabash. Last year, DePauw was able to host 2 playoff games. Able to beat Maryville of Tennessee before falling to Johns Hopkins, of course, of the DMV Metroplex, one of the great academic institutions in our country. They can play some football there at Johns Hopkins as well. Johns Hopkins, in fact, is coached by a former Indiana Mr. Football in Daniel Wadika from West Lafayette High School back in 2009. DePauw knows, and they frankly have been a frequent participant now in the Division III playoffs. And they know they can get there and do damage again. But first things first, going to take care of business in the conference. And that game against John Carroll in 2 weeks is going to be huge.
And you look back to that game a year ago against Johns Hopkins, And it really just came down to the final seconds of that game, coming down to a penalty and not even being able to run a play in the final seconds. And that's just a tough taste in your mouth when you go into this year looking ahead to more success in the playoffs.
A late penalty call and a touchdown that should have counted earlier in the game as well. That won't be forgotten on this campus anytime in the near future.
Not at all.
You're taking a look back to what is the north towards the town of Greencastle. Jared and I are taking a look to the south end of campus where, again, Reba Stadium has field hockey going on as we speak. I think this is like match number 3. I think they're getting ready to start. So the Tigers just got a goal, I believe. And again, people tend to give me credit for knowing a little bit of everything about sports. I got nothing on field hockey, man. I got absolutely nothing.
You make up for it with knowing Indiana like the back of your hand.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So moments away from getting this third quarter underway. Again, it's our chance to give a tip of the cap to our ISC Sports Network crew. Jordan Shue, Kyle Donlin, Vince Morelez, Juan Guillen, Charlie Hammock, and Eldon Wheeler. It's a rare Saturday. This is our lone production on the ISC family of networks today. Tomorrow, make sure you catch Southern Indiana FC. They take on Tango FC down at the Green Valley Soccer Complex in New Albany. Kurt Darling and Brant McCoskey have the call of that one, with our coverage beginning promptly at 4 o'clock. So back deep to return now for DePauw. Brock Stewart heading back. And Alex Huber. You expect both of these sides of the ball for DePauw to go deep into their bench. Obviously not a luxury that Oberlin is afforded at this point. Cameron Lytle on to kick the ball away. And this ball fielded at the 5-yard line. And room to run here. Good solid run back to just shy of the 45-yard line. Alex Hoover on the return. Tigers have the football at the 44-yard line. I believe that is Kaz Mirzak that is in the game at quarterback. So Garzalini get a couple of reps. But it's Kaz Mirzak here. And expect a lot of that. That is Luke Russo. Had a couple of carries in the second quarter. And it may be literally he and Bond just alternating plays for the remainder of the game.
Noah also went on the side.
Makes the travel of your loved ones coming from far and wide, getting here on a Saturday when they get an opportunity to see you play. You don't always know that that's going to be the case, but when it does happen, definitely memories created as a family. So it has to be an exciting moment for some of these DePauw players and their families witnessing them getting some tick.
And for these guys at the running back position, as the H-back going to carry on the end around and picks up a couple of yards there. That is Evan McIntyre, freshman from GCA, Greenwood Christian Academy, on the carry. He'll pick up maybe a yard, 3rd down and 4.
But something we saw from Caden Whitehead in the first half, laying the boom as a lead blocker. Caden Bond doing the same exact thing with his own boom laying block that he just had as a lead blocker there. So a rite of passage today in Greencastle, being a lead blocker at the running back position.
8-man front being shown here. DePauw running the teeth of it, and Bond will have the first down. He'll cross the 40-yard line, a gain of, call it a 12 yards, the former Delta Eagle. And get ready to say, at the running back position, Whitehead is a senior, Mentor is a senior. Carson Johnson, we've not seen today, he is a junior. In other words, for a guy like Bond, he kind of knows, hey, my opportunity is coming, at some point in time down the road.
Make the most of whatever you get at whatever time that it comes. So far, he's gotten 2 carries, and he's made the absolute most of them, going for positive yards each time. By the way, those Delta facilities up near Muncie, unbelievable the first time I saw them.
Yorktown just joined them in terms of getting a brand new field turf outside of Muncie. Fake the handoff, Kazmierzak on the keeper, and he'll be wrestled down after a gain of 3 yards. Jacob Epps on the tackle.
And to bring that Delta point all the way home, Caden Bond has a teammate, Landon Brooks, that's now the same grade at Purdue. Outside linebacker, standing at 6'6", has grown into his body there for Coach Odom and the Boilermakers. Look for him to do some damage for the Boilers here in the next coming years, just like you expect the same thing from Bond for Coach Dietz.
2nd down and 7. Delta last night lost to Pendleton Heights in terms of Hoosier Heritage Conference play. All running plays here. On the handoff again. 1st down. And that's Peyton Cross. Cross had 2 carries for north of 20 yards in the first half, and does not hurt that average at all as he takes the ball down to the 22-yard line.
As you can see, the running backs just spelling each other after a couple of plays, everyone getting a fair share of the workload, just doing it by committee right now with this game very much in their control. Why not see what all of your running backs can do today?
Deacon Simmons, a Moeller man from Cincinnati, now is the setback on the play. Simmons will get the handoff, and he'll get a yard, maybe 2. That is Jackson Bloomfield, and frankly, when there have been defensive stops made by Oberlin, he's been in or around the play on those couple of occasions. 2nd down.
Got a chance to watch them warm up just a bit before talking to defensive coordinator Ben Hammer. And that was a big guy standing over there doing some of those individual drills as an offensive and defensive lineman. Always impressive when you see someone of a taller stature get little and small and fit themselves into different crevices to be effective.
Opening drive has taken 4 minutes off the clock here in quarter number 3. 2nd and long. Russo bounces it out left side. Russo stays inbounds, taken down at about the 16-yard line. Give him 5. It'll be 3rd down.
Once again, that show of sportsmanship from Coach Brett Dietz, not airing it out, but just leaning behind that offensive line, allowing them to get their blocking assignments in order, but absolutely running the football with this game very much decided from the early parts once this thing got kicked off.
If you get a 1st and goal here, you might give Kazmierzak a chance to throw a touchdown pass here, but again, overall, your point is well made, as per usual. 3rd down. On the handoff, it's Bond, and Bond. 1st down, touchdown. No flags on the play. He'll take it in from 16 yards out and make it 67 on the board for the DePauw Tigers.
This is a blocking concept that they've done all day. Split zone. The tight end comes across, seals the edge, and then they have all of the space up the middle and into the teeth of the defense for Bond to get into the end zone.
Bond and Cross each had 1 carry on the season coming into today's game. They've had more than that. Bond gets his 1st touchdown. We're even getting to kind of backup holder, and Gomez, again, a very experienced player. Hildebrand was the holder. 68-0. DePauw leads. That drive took 5 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock. We'll step aside for 30 seconds as you're watching DePauw football on ISC.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over-invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Getting a little bit warm, but we'll take it. Jared and I are 7 weeks into our high school football coverage. We had a lightning delay of 25 minutes in a game last night. I think we had rain at halftime of one game. That's it from a precipitation standpoint.
But you go back to a year ago around this time, and it felt like games were being pushed to the next day left and right.
Yep.
I remember
we had remnants of a hurricane. Yeah. Did you do a game that night, or did you do the next day?
I was in Frankfurt.
And then we had you come in and do the Ben Davis LN game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, it worked out for you. You got 2 games in 2 days that way.
Preparing to kick off for the Tigers.
Rob Brown, he'll be here in 2 weeks, and because of that game being moved back, I called Rob. I said, all right, Rob, I got a game for you. You tell me which one do you want. I'm going to Indiana State to do their game. You can have that one. You can have Ben Davis, Lawrence North. Before I finished, he said, I think I'll take Ben Davis and Lawrence North. LN put up 65. Cooper will pick it up, and then he is put down once he gets to about the 23-yard line. That is Connor Riley, freshman from Center Grove. And this is the part where I let Jared brag about his alma mater beating Mr. Riley's alma mater last night, 21-15.
That was an impressive win by the Irish, one that I'm sure a lot of people did not see coming. But that is a team that Center Grove was without 2 of their workhorses coming out of the backfield, and I felt like Cathedral just took advantage of a team bloodshot and wounded from what they didn't have for as far as their resources. So tip my cap to Coach Peebles and his bunch getting a big-time win.
So Nye in for the first time here in this half. He'll hand it off to Hughes, and he'll pick up a yard. Or Lance Sloan, excuse me. Sloan, the ball carrier, sophomore from Perryville, Kentucky.
Ball carrier was Lane Sloan.
And 3 rushes on the season coming in. Second down again. You're obviously the goal here for Oberlin, find the end zone somehow, some way. But frankly, if you can just keep positive momentum going forward, avoid a turnover in half number 2, you feel like you're making progress.
Something that they couldn't seem to get a grasp on in that first quarter, fumbling in back-to-back drives to open it up.
Second down and 9. Nye slings it. Cooper catches. Grab of 5.
Catch by C.J. Cooper.
Carson Dibble in on the tackle.
Jeremiah Miller made the tackle.
This
down and 2.
This is a Yeoman offense that has only scored 27 points total for the season. So just under a touchdown per contest. So would be a welcome sight for Coach Pont and his bunch if they could find the end zone.
Just shy of 50 yards passing for the game. Nye has to pump, and that is tipped away.
Nye's pass incomplete. Intended for Connor Stewart.
John Tobin on the pass breakup for DePauw. See if DePauw will just go for it, or I'm sorry, Oberlin will go for it here. They want to punt the ball away. And the punt team coming on. When you've got about 30 players in uniform,
Jackson Gartska is the Oberlin punter.
the young man that is the kicker is the long snapper. So again, the place kicker is the snapper on this play for Oberlin. And that gets away from the hands of the punter. Now, he can have time to pick this up and recover, and he does. So, it's not a bad play. And in the box score, you never know the difference. Well, again, you're trying to find the small victories here if you're Oberlin, and that play was one of them. We once had a young man in ISC that blocked a punt twice on the same play. In other words, he blocked it, ball was picked up, punter tried to kick it, and the kid blocked it again. He now works at Main Street Barbershop in Carmel. You can stop by and ask him about the play if you'd like to.
I was going to say, I wonder, has
Dylan
that ever
Souders.
been done?
On our airwaves, no, that's the one time. It's been. I'm certainly it's happened at some point in time before. So ball now at the 44-yard line. Kazmierzak again at quarterback. And it will be Peyton Cross in as the running back. L.J. Hills in there as a wide receiver this time. Oberlin's going to have to call the timeout. They've got some confusion in terms of their defensive formation. 5:05 left to go here in quarter number 3. Again, we'll step aside. Back in 30 seconds to Blackstock Stadium as you're watching on ISC.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
So back from the timeout, DePauw will have the football at their own 44-yard line. Brett Dietz having a conversation with our referee. Jack Brooks has the assignment for today's game. You got to respect the fact that these guys are still fighting for Oberlin. Say it's an uphill climb would be an overstatement.
That's usually the first step in the proper direction.
Yep.
Do you have some guys that believe and that want to actually fight? No matter how disproportionate some of these games may get, will you continue to fight? And I would say so far for Coach Pont, his team has done that.
Little tap pass here. But again, that's the equivalent of a running play. And a gain of just 3. Alex Hoover on the grab, senior from Brownsburg. Ramsey Lewis, senior from Woodbridge, Virginia, makes the tackle.
I think you brought a great point up in that first half and the talent that some of these bigger schools in Indianapolis have, and those guys usually end up coming to schools like DePauw at the Division III level. Really good football players. But the reality is not everyone is going to be a Division I talent. It just does not work out like that. So for them to have a platform to come to a well-coached program like they have here in Greencastle with Coach Dietz, it makes your heart proud and it brings a smile to your face, because in our shoes we get to cover some of these phenomenal and talented young men, and to watch them live out their dreams and play college football no matter the level is truly special.
Kazmierzak on the keeper. He'll take it to the 47-yard line. He slides to a stop after he picks up 6 yards. 3rd down and a yard for the Tigers. I think as much the goal now for DePauw is to take as close to 40 seconds a snap as you possibly can. Again, you're trying to balance getting the guys who put in so much work some run with, again, trying to be respectful to the other side that is rather undermanned. And now a timeout being taken by DePauw. Coach Dietz just wants to kind of go over everything with his team here in this scenario. So 3rd down and a yard from the 47-yard line. Both teams with 2 timeouts, should they feel the need to use them in today's game. And DePauw checks in at number 13 in the country. Tonight will be their 29th consecutive regular season victory. Last time the Tigers played a game on this date, going to go back to 2014. A 27-15 win against Denison. And this is remarkable. This stadium was dedicated on this day 84 years ago. 2 months before Pearl Harbor was bombed was the day the stadium was dedicated. And a 7-6 victory against Carleton by the Fighting Tigers on that day. It's interesting to look back in history and see some of the different levels of football these teams have played historically over the years in terms of opposition. 3rd and a yard. On the handoff, it's Cross, and Cross plows into the line and still keeps the legs churning, comes out of there and dives forward about the 39-yard line, needed a yard and got 7 or 8. 1st down Tigers. On this date in history, opponents from DePauw have included Purdue, Indiana, Louisville, Ball State, Indiana State, Butler, Evansville, amongst others. So forward progress stopped at the 40-yard line.
IU represented here today at Blackstock Stadium as Coach Pont spent some time there in the 21-22 season as a football analyst and assistant athletic performance coach. So down there with Coach Tom Allen in his tenure as head coach. Coach Pont bringing over a wealth of experience as if it wasn't enough to have Granddad being who he was.
I was going to say, if you walk into the offices at IU, I want to work on the football team. What's your name, sir? John Pont. That would probably get some people's attention.
Also in the cradle of coaches at Miami, Ohio University. A lot of great coaches that come out of there. Bo Schembechler, Ari Parsegan, Northwestern guy. Just a lot of great guys. Coach Martin, I think, will be in that conversation at some point in time with what he's done with the Redhawks. Had a chance to watch them last season against Northwestern. Just a nice job in what has been done there in Oxford.
On the handoff, on the cutback, Russo lowers the shoulder. He'll pick up 11. Ramsey Lewis was along for the ride. First down, Tigers.
Russo just doing a nice job running behind his pads. Nothing fancy here, just getting downhill as quickly as possible and finishing with some authority.
188 yards rushing and counting here for the Tigers today. Bond actually now is the leading ground gainer with 45 yards. Approach a minute left to go here in the third quarter. So far, this third quarter has been about time management for the Tigers. Bond the handoff, and that will be the first loss of yards in a play today by the Tigers.
And that's your guy once again, Jackson Bloomfield, adding to the +1 off the edge that Bond was not able to outrun. Usually there's one guy unblocked on the end of the line of scrimmage one way or another, but when there's two, present some problems, and it did there for Caden Bond trying to break free.
Second down and 12. This, again, assuming it's a running play and not for a first down, will be the final snap of quarter number 3. On the handoff, it's Cross. Cross will plow forward, only inhibited by his own offensive lineman that time at the end of that play. Gain of 4 for Cross, and that'll be it for quarter number 3. The song remains the same. It is all Tigers today. 68-0, they lead Oberlin. Final 12 minutes. Yes, we're playing shortened quarters here. It has not slowed the DePauw attack as you're watching DePauw University football on the ISC Sports Network.
DePauw 68, Oberlin nothing.
Monon is pretty much the biggest game in D3.
And we always want to keep that bell, especially for the campus.
It comes down to tradition and brotherhood, playing for the guys that are to your left and to your right.
The past history that we've had, over 100 years of other men that have played.
Let's go, Tigers! Let's go! Ah!
Let's go. Put up 6. Let's go.
Let's go!
Before I was on campus, I was very nervous because I gotta make friends and my teacher's gonna be nice. But now that I'm here, all my fears have washed away, and I'm more excited to learn than I have been in a while.
And that's one of the things I think that DePauw does incredibly well. It provides an opportunity for individuals to find their place in the world, and that's something that the university provides everyone who comes here.
It's never the last time you're at DePauw. You'll always be back, and I know that I'm coming back for these people and these places and these memories that I have.
12 minutes of football left to go. And thanks to Bill Wagner, his wonderful staff here at DePauw University. Stevie Baker-Watson, the director of athletics. Alongside Jared Thomas, Greg Rakestraw with you. Our second of 4 regular season home broadcast for DePauw. Of course, we're your home for the Monon Bell Classic as well. This is simply a matter of time. Third down. Kazmierzak actually going to look to throw. Out in the flat, catch is made, and again, that'll keep the chains going. That's a first down, and that is L.J. Hills from Lewis Cass.
Watch LJ get out of his break. Was almost surprised because he didn't see the ball at first, but spotted it at the perfect moment. Quarterback-receiver connection converting on that pitch and catch out to the wide side of the field.
As Mirzak gets credit for his second completion, and now we'll
the Tigers quarterback.
change things up to Marco Sansone, sophomore from St. Louis. Now we'll get to have some snaps. He'll hand it off. No, he'll keep. Sansone wrestled down at about the 4-yard line. And again, that is Jackson Bloomfield yet again. The junior from Dallas, Texas, almost showed a rodeo background to make that play. 2nd and goal.
Doing a nice job just flying all around the field from that defensive line position. Has been a disruptor in this second half in the backfield and even pursuing ball carriers on the perimeter.
Second year in a row that these two teams have played on Old Gold Day. 72 scored by DePauw last year in this scenario. Last time DePauw lost this game was to Wittenberg 3 years ago. And that was the last time that DePauw lost a regular season game. October 8th of 2022. Play clock is at 3. Sansone, the handoff, and that will be a touchdown. Touchdown for the Tigers. Russo, the senior from Louisville, makes it 74-0 in favor of DePauw.
Evan McIntyre, the tight ends have just been a focal point in the run game. He lays a nice block at the second level and escorts Russo into the end zone and then celebrates with the chest bump.
Jacob Hines to attempt the point after.
New kicker. Fourth different kicker we have seen today for the Tigers. You can afford to do that when things are going of this magnitude. This is up and good. And make it 75 now for DePauw.
75, Oberlin nothing.
This is a new modern era record for points in a game by DePauw with 75 again. The overall record happened on this day as well, 112 years ago. DePauw scored 99 against Moores Hill, what is now the University of Evansville. But here are the highlights. All these taking place in the last 20 years. DePauw had scored 72 twice against Oberlin in the last 3 seasons. Put up 69 against former league rival Allegheny. Scored 68 against Anderson 2 years ago. Put up 66 against Oberlin twice in the last year. Same with Hiram 9 years ago. Put up 65 at Kenyon last season. Scored 60 at Rose-Hulman 20 years ago. So 75 the most in a long, long time for the DePauw Tigers.
Cooper and Garcia back deep.
Cooper will simply let that one go.
That's a touchback for Gibbs.
So at the 25-yard line, and again, for Oberlin, you've got a goal to pick up some more first downs and score some points. They have 2 first downs for the game. All those coming on the last drive in which they had the football in quarter number 2. 7 total yards for the Yeomen, 381 for the Tigers.
We saw some success in the pass game for the Yeomen in that second quarter when the 2s and 3s started to trickle in for DePauw, and that was getting the ball out to the perimeter with some quick hitters. Not as much success in the pass game really at all offensively. Maybe something that they get back to.
Nye in the flat. Catch is made. That is Connor Steele. Connor took a pretty good wallop that time. Connor Riley in coverage. Harry Pratt was there as well.
Robert Passanato made the tackle.
Nye had his superback Lance Sloan in the flat, elected to go for the more difficult throw, but was still able to complete it.
Pratt, pretty unique. Pratt is from Australia. Look at the international age of this Oberlin roster. Pratt And again, a lot of Aussies are punters. Not the case for Mr. Pratt. Playing safety. That ball dropped. Steele did not think that ball was coming to him. He thought he was going into block for the ball going outside to the flanker far side. And it's 3rd down and short.
Brings up 3rd down and 2.
Put away 9 now. 11 of 23 today passing the football for the Yeomen. Play clock is at 13. Catch made, and he will get the first down. Forward progress was made. That's J.J. Raz who gets his 4th grab of the day. Just needed a couple and gets it. 3rd first down of the contest for Oberlin.
Once again, Oberlin doing a nice job taking advantage of the off coverage from DePauw in a pivotal moment for them offensively, converting on a 3rd down, getting into the sticks, making sure your receiver, if you're J.J. Raz, getting past the line of game to ensure you get that first down.
Little trickeration here. Trying to throw the screen, but couldn't complete it. Ball was waiting on that play. Sloan was the intended target. Second time we have seen Oberlin try that kind of double flanker reverse, and both have been unsuccessful. 2nd down.
Same play was attempted in that 2nd quarter. The only difference there was Lance Sloan was actually in the vicinity. The one in the first half, it was thrown to the feet of offensive linemen looking to lead block.
Second and 10. Out in the flat. Catch is made. And some yards to pick up here. Gain of about 4 or 5. That time Jake Hughes gets the catch. One of the seniors on this Oberlin roster. He'll pick up 5, and it's 3rd down.
0 for 7 on 3rd down. The Yeomen were on that category in the first half. Now have opportunities in back-to-back play sets to get 3rd down conversions. Talk about something they can point to of having success. This could be one of those areas if they're able to convert in back-to-back 3rd down situations.
1 of 9 on 3rd down is Oberlin today. Dropped. Now Raz would like to have that one back.
It brings up 4th down.
Coverage applied that time by Jack Fuller. And here comes the punt team on. By the way, I'm not sure I've ever seen this in a game. DePauw has 8 for 8 on 3rd down in today's game. Then again, it's 75-0, so probably shouldn't come as that big of a surprise.
Not in 3rd down situations that often in a game that gets out of hand like this, with explosive plays usually coming on 1st and 2nd down, or like we saw to start the game, defensive touchdowns.
Fair catch immediately called for and made back at the 28-yard line. So Dean Hart, former Central Catholic product. DePauw already on their 4th quarterback. We have seen numerous running backs. In fact, technically 10 different players have a rushing attempt for DePauw in today's game. Run pass balance. 35 rushing plays, 31 rushing plays, 16 passing attempts for DePauw in this game.
Dominic Garzolini.
Now Dominic Garzolini. We saw Anthony earlier. This is Dominic. He'll hand it off. This is Bond. And Bond, a bruising run. Taken down after a gain of just 2.
Bond, one of the 42 sophomores that resides on this DePauw roster by class allocation. 42 sophomores, 37 freshmen, 35 juniors, and 33 seniors. So it's the underclassmen that actually outflank the upperclassmen on this Tigers football team.
But that's something in the vicinity of about 140 players on your roster.
There isn't a shortage of resources when it comes to bodies for this Tigers team. We can definitely say that.
Snap taken on the handoff. Couple 3 yards, and Bobby Metzger, freshman from Central Catholic, takes that snap. This is going to get everybody a rep at this point in time.
And when you go on the home page for the football team, you see all of the players' bios. There's a consistent theme and message that they all have. DePauw is the best place to have the best student experience and to be a great athlete on the football team. Just speaks to how much has been given out by this DePauw staff to their football players to feel that way and to truly want to come here to live out that experience.
And a flag is going to be thrown for a delay of game.
Delay game. Offense, number 8. 5 yards. Third down.
So Dash King is the quarterback, wearing a different number in today's game. Dash from Bloomington North High School. Making sure he has the play call right. And again, this is 3rd down and 9. We are inching closer to the punt team making their debut for this game.
Well, at this point in the game, when you have 4s and 5 fifth-string guys in, the playbook shrinks because you don't know how much they truly know about the offense. So it's only so much that you can call in these situations, especially when you get behind the chains.
King trying to live up to his given first name. He's going to end up getting relatively close to first. They might give it to him. Yep, they will. So make it 9 of 9 on 3rd down for the Tigers today. So 1st and 10. Harrison Miller coming in at the tight end spot out of Guerin Catholic High School. Dominic Garzolini coming back in for this snap. You're getting into the grandmother and grandfather time. I'm trying to make sure I mention as many names as possible. Malcolm Howes is in there. Wide receiver also out of Guerin Catholic High School. On the handoff, and a yard, maybe 2 on that carry. It's 2nd down. Entering now, Zach Ort. Hayden Clare. This is the reward for all the hard work you put in, knowing that normally playing time is not going to follow.
Not unfamiliar territory for this DePauw offense, going back to their game a week ago against Wittenberg. Got the ball with just under 8 minutes to go, and Wittenberg never saw the ball again offensively, so they have this tool in their arsenal to be able to play keep away when the game is into its final seconds.
Handoff goes to Bond. Bond 1st down and then some. Taken down after a gain of approximately 19 yards. Peyton Ruff, freshman from Phoenix, Arizona, in on the tackle.
The truth of the matter is Caden Bond has been a bright spot for the guys that don't normally play. I'm not going to say he's a guy that's going to make you miss, but when he runs behind his pads and he gets downhill, he's pretty electric.
I would say you're probably a 1st down away from going victory formation here if you're DePauw.
I say it all the time, 4-minute football is a concept within the game. that is just when you want to take control of the game, you run the football, and that's usually around 4 minutes on the clock. When you get into those situations, that once you run the ball enough, you can get to victory formation, but it doesn't always take place with 4 minutes on the clock. As we've seen here, it takes place with maybe even more time on the clock, but it's a mentality to control the game with your run game, and DePauw is doing that right now.
Cross tripped up. Some more linemen going to make their debut in this contest. Mason Oakes, freshman from Brighton, Colorado, comes in. And Jalen Stewart, sophomore from Lawrence Central, into the game. Good night for the Bears last night, beating North Central 49-14. Now 2nd and a yard.
His Bears have been all over the place this season, compete with some teams, don't compete with others, and then put up a whopping 49 points in last night's game.
And we're down 14-7 at one point in that game and scored the last 42 points. It was a tie game at halftime. On the handoff, that'll be a first down. And knocked forward about the 26-yard line.
On the carry. Ruff and Sloan combined on the
We'll have a 2-minute timeout that'll be coming up here. And after that point, you can just simply take a knee. So with that, we will take our final timeout. 75-0. Tigers are going to be 5-0 when we come back to Greencastle on the ISC Sports Network.
I felt like I became a totally different person at DePauw.
DePauw was really one of the first places that I had an opportunity to explore the arts, the sciences, economics.
DePauw gave me that chance to not only be a leader, but to teach leadership skills to other people.
And DePauw students are known for being well over invested in their time and commitments, and yet somehow they find a way to do all of it. There's a hunger that we get that starts here.
Our students have a gold standard academic experience driven by faculty who know and care about each one of them.
We're fostering new ways of seeing and thinking, equipping students with a creative method that can be applied liberally to challenges in society, science, business, technology, and beyond.
The fact that a student might do a co-curricular program like Management Fellows whilst pursuing a major in the creative school whilst doing a minor in liberal arts is something you just wouldn't find at another institution.
2 minutes left to go on this one. DePauw scored early and often in today's game. In fact, a modern era points record, 75 on the board. And again, let's notate, this is in a game that will be played in 48 minutes of clock time and not 60. DePauw wins at 75-0 again. It's first down and again, likely, and that's how they're lining up. Just take 3 knees and get to the house at this point. Ballantyne, the quarterback, 9 of 1,245 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those all to his brother Robbie. He extends his career receiving touchdown record to 46 and counting. After the ones left the game, just 3 passes were completed the rest of the way. One of those for a touchdown by Anthony Garzolini. That went to Jack Gordon. Bond will finish as the leading ground gainer, 6 carries, 63 yards. No player had more than 8 carries in today's game for DePauw. Caden Whitehead, 2 touchdowns. Luke Russo, 1 touchdown. Seth Menser, 1 touchdown. Bond, a touchdown. Carson Johnson did not factor in today's game, nor did Leighton Lukowski.
For those watching in support of the Tigers, I leave you with something before this game goes final, and that's the brother connection between Scott Ballantyne and Robbie Ballantyne. 44 receptions, 611 receiving yards, and connection between the two of them, and 8 touchdowns. The only time that this has been seen in Tiger history was in 2015 and 2016 when Matt and Andy Hunt went for 107 connections through the air, 1,323 yards, and 17 touchdowns. Now, it's important to note that was done over 2 seasons. This will be the lone season that the Ballantynes play together, so it's impressive that they already are about that halfway point of that output for the brother from quarterback to receiver connection.
One final knee, and that is that. 75-0. DePauw is your winner. Make it 29 consecutive regular season wins for the Tigers. Jared, final thoughts on this one?
A complete domination by the Tigers. They showed exactly why they're a top 15 team in Division III football, looking to keep things rolling. They did that here today against the Yeomen.
Good to work with you always, my friend. Thank you so much. For Jared Thomas and our entire ISC Sports Network crew, this is Greg Rakestraw. Next time DePauw plays, it will not be like this. John Carroll comes to Blackstock Stadium for the first time as a conference foe of DePauw. That'll be a good one. Make sure you're here October the 18th at 1 o'clock. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks for watching Division III football with us. Your home for the DePauw Tigers is the ISC Sports Network.